Well, a fine good morning, everyone. This is Patricia, and I'm traveling for history. I'm in South Hero, Vermont today, and this, let me just turn around quick. This is the South Hero Museum, which is open Wednesdays and Saturdays 10 to 1. Is that seasonally?
In the winter, we're open Wednesdays.
Oh, very good to know. So I want to introduce you to our tour guides today. This is Terry Robinson. Thank you. And this is
Ron Phelps.
Ron Phelps. Thank you so much. It's only been like 3 minutes. So anyway, they're going to be our tour guides today, which is fabulous. Now, as I recall, you were a retired social studies teacher. You were just saying that's a great mix. And what did you do?
What did I do? I'm a retired plumber, master plumber.
Wow. Also wow. So
Ron has some family history that you want to hear.
fantastic. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and I may ask some questions as we go along. But for the most part, I'm just going to leave it to them. So let me turn the microphone around. There we go.
Go ahead, Terry.
All right, so I'll start with that this museum started out as a library in 1925, and it was dedicated in the name of Arthur Landon, who passed away at the end of World War I, and his mom donated this library. So it was the library in town. A lot of people remember it as the library. And then they built the school. They put the library down there in 1975. So 1976, a bunch of women said, what are we going to do with that building? Let's make it a museum. So it's called the South Hero Bicentennial Museum. That's where the name comes. This is Arthur Landon right here. And wonderful, wonderful man. And he was loved by many. One woman in town was his girlfriend in 7th grade, and his mother made this handkerchief for him to give his girlfriend.
Wow.
In 7th grade. There's so many wonderful stories.
What a sweet story.
Yeah, that's Arthur Landon. So Ron.
On the left of the fireplace is Mary Phelps. She was the librarian in town. She was my father's aunt.
Wow. So was there only one librarian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
She was,
yeah, everybody remembers her.
Wow.
And we have her table here.
Well, we have the military display. You know, that's where we usually start with our displays.
We love this. So everything is from South Hero. There are people in South Hero that he was in World War I. He was a language industrial arts teacher at school.
Who was?
His name is Roy Fred. And that's his boot. I'd love to take the boot to school. I show the kids the boot at school, what they used to wear in World War I. This is the Civil War. And there's a lot of history
This
from...
is the Civil War, and this is my great-grandfather, Benajah Phelps, was in the Civil War, okay? I have his musket hanging over my fireplace at home.
Wow.
And this is all a paraphernalia that I've gotten handed down from the oldest son to the oldest son in the family.
So the photograph, is that your grandfather?
That is my great-grandfather.
Grandfather?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've spoken to someone who has a photograph of an ancestor. Wow.
And he
Well,
lived...
our family goes back here to 1781
Wow.
when we first came to the islands.
Your family's the first resident.
They were.
The first resident moved
Wow.
a log cabin.
Yeah. Ebenezer Allen was the second.
Wow. And Jedediah Hyde? That's Grand Isle.
Hyde is Grand Isle. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. See, my family came from Connecticut in 1781, and as you come across the Sandbar Bridge, which is now Apple Island Resort, that used to be Phelps Bay, where all those boats are.
Son of a gun?
And that's where your cabin was.
And my great-grandfather used to be the bridge tender, or toll tender,
Okay.
when they built the sandbar,
Okay.
and he lived in the toll house. And while he was there, he bought the property next door and built the Sandbar Hotel and Phelps House.
Son of a gun?
And they tore that down about 17 years ago.
This is a fun story.
We do go back.
When we took over in 2017, there was a live grenade
Good Lord.
in this glass case. And
Oh my gosh.
we had been here about 2 years. We had somebody come in, and I took it out and showed them, oh, you're interested in history. Here's a live grenade. And
Well, you didn't know that at the time.
we didn't know it was live. And he says, wait, I think that's live. You have to call the barracks in Colchester.
Holy nuts.
So they came and they took it and they said it was live and they detonated it back in Colchester.
Good gracious.
So that was
Wow.
crazy.
So this kind of rope here, is that the one used on the bell outside? Or no?
No, it isn't the same rope, but it looks like it. But that was the way they did things. That's why we did that with the rope. So that's authentic, the way the bell. And maybe later we can talk to you about the bell, because there is a nice brand new sign on the bell. Just
filmed
like
it.
a week old.
Oh, it's brand new
a week
sign.
old.
Oh, wow.
It's because we just did that, because that bell we got like 2 years ago.
Right.
And
The bell came from Mount Home, which is where Apple Island Resort is. That's a whole
Okay.
other story, but it was a home for destitute children for years.
after it was the Mott farm for years, when her husband died, she kept running it. But then when she died, she asked that it be an orphanage, and she gave a lot of money to the minister in town and some bank person to run it, and they managed it as an orphanage for a long time, and that was the bell on the orphanage. Later, when it closed because there weren't enough kids in town, the money went to help restore the Catholic church that burned in 1976. The Catholic church burned. Oh wait, it was Congregational. Congregational church burned. I had that wrong. And they used the rest of her money to help restore the Congregational church. So
Son of God.
she did a wonderful thing. This is brand new this year. This is a new display. It's a
Wow.
brand new mannequin. This is called a Carash bonnet. And there's a house in town, the Tracy family, that came in 1891. They've been here. The same family still lives in the house.
Wow.
Same family.
Love that.
This woman, Phoebe Mott, had a daughter, Clara. Clara never got married, lived there her whole life,
Wow.
had a room with a dresser and things in it that they never touched. They had a fire
Oh.
last winter, and they went through the dresser as they're cleaning up, and they found this and the bonnet from the early 1800s. That bonnet from the early 1800s.
It looks like it came out of a catalog.
I know. I
Like
know.
yesterday.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?
Wow.
So, and this was also one of the chairs that was hers too, that was there.
Wow.
Which is very interesting how small it is. So that's one of our new displays. This is a picture of her, which is quite elegant
Wow.
if you think about it.
Beautiful young woman.
Isn't she?
Yeah. I just can't get over this outfit looking this good.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?
So why is it called a
Carash bonnet.
Yeah.
So it accordions, and then they had coiffures. They had quite fancy hair, and you didn't want it to get messed up, so you could accordion the hat. You could even make it bigger, and it would go over your hair.
Well, son of a gun.
So that's what that's for. And it's all silk, and it's in very good shape.
It is in excellent condition.
So
Wow. And it's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Hard to imagine something so old. Because I've seen a lot of old clothing in my travels, and most do not look this beautiful. Such great condition.
So
Wow.
one of the things about South Heroes that we're an island in Lake Champlain, so this whole area is about the lake. And if you live on an island, and this is about Ticonderoga, the owner of the Ticonderoga, Horace Corbin,
Original.
still, his grandson still owns the property.
Yes.
And that's why we have a Ticonderoga, because it's a big part of South Hero history. And all the boats, some of them were made right here in Keeler Bay.
Some were made in Kids Bay, some were made in Shelburne Harbor. Shelburne. There's different boats. Some of them, one of them, the Phoenix, burnt up.
Oh, that's behind you,
Right here.
right? 1819, right off of White's Beach, which we have a map to show where that is. And the people in South Hero actually went out and with boats and saved a lot of the people. I think only 2 died.
I'm not sure, but they went out and rescued the rest of them. if they
Now, was
could.
that the one that got grounded? It caught fire?
On the Colchester Reef right now. So it floated back to the Colchester Reef.
Wow.
Started in Burlington, it went here, it went off track. It was going to Plattsburgh, went off track, and right here it started to burn, and it hit kind of this Stave Island right in the middle there. This is Providence Island.
There's a reef right there that's in high water, you can't see it.
Okay.
And in low water, it's
So it hit
out of
that.
the water.
And it burned and burned, but then the wind changed. They got the people off, they got them to this island. The wind changed, and it floated back and hit Colchester Reef, and that's where it is right now.
Wow.
But, that's kind of part of our history. And the sturgeon is a big part of South Hero history. Because, and Ron's father had the last sturgeon license. That's his father.
That's what I love about these historical society museums. Honestly, I mean, it's because the people live in the area and they give their items to these places.
Yep. There's
It's a sturgeon net along with its tags for the net and fishing licenses.
So the gold is,
The gold is you'd have to have a flag on each end of your net, which your net was about 200 feet long. And you had a float with a flag on each end of it to identify it so people wouldn't run over it. And the brass tag would go on that with a number. So it identifies anybody from the state goes out there to check the net. They'll know it belongs to Elliott Phelps. And we used to net them. The net is it has a very big, large mesh in it, so the small fish could go through there without getting caught, but it would catch the bigger ones. And it didn't pay to ship small fish to New York City, because we used to send the Hazen caviar, would buy the caviar, and we'd send the meat out there. So what we would do is we would tie them out from a tree with a rope through their gill until we had 3 or 4 of them. Then we would put them in a wooden apple barrel with ice and fish, and it made it worthwhile to ship them. But if you only had a 30-pound fish, it didn't pay to ship one fish.
And of course, 1955, there would have been the railroad, because the railroad was 1900 to 1963, around there.
Yeah.
So they would have shipped it on the railroad too, in town. So a lot of history in South Hero that's changed. Lots of changes. And the history is really fun when people do come in and start to learn about it, because you can't sturgeon fish anymore, there's no railroad anymore. Very, very interesting. So over here, this is a whole display on the Sandbar Bridge. Just, how many times it's been changed, but look at it originally.
wow.
I mean, it was just a little path. You had maybe a month and a half you could walk on it. That was
Wow.
it. And this is a nice, interesting thing about the Sandbar Bridge. We have brochures about the hotel there.
I filmed that when it was the abandoned look of it and all that. I did. When we drove by today, I did see they had torn it down. I knew they were going to in the spring, but
I wonder if there was anything interesting in this. That's the Phelps house.
Oh.
It was the original Sandbar Inn, was the Phelps house. That's when it got changed to Sandbar Inn, right? But you can see then this hotel got put up. Motel got put up.
yeah, that's what I filmed.
Yeah.
The motel was put up in the 60s.
And the Phelps house,
But Hazen owned it at that time.
this was the original. And the original, look at, they're showing how much it costs. And so it's fun to have those brochures here. They're not the original. And
Well, my grandfather ran a toll house there, and they had an arm that came down across the road.
Oh,
And you stand on the porch, and he'd raise it up, you'd have to pay the toll to go use the sandbar. And eventually, while he was living there, my father was born there, and while he was living there, he bought the property next door and built the original Sandbar Hotel
wow.
and Phelps House. And there's a lot of postcards that show that.
Wow.
And years ago, when it was just a sandbar, you couldn't get across the road because it was just one-lane traffic. And there used to be a turnout on the sandbar.
this picture has the turnout right there. It was where you would go here and you'd have to back out and turn out.
Yeah, yeah. And gradually, they built it up over the years. In 1900 is when they first opened a bridge with a causeway.
So I wanted to show you, this book got written this winter. This book is written by our librarian, Alice Wells. And she did all the research and compiled all the information in here. It's about taking a tour from the Sandbar and down all the roads in South Hero in 1876.
Good Lord.
1876, centennial year.
That's a lot of research.
But this shows the toll house and the bar that went across where you had to stop to pay right there. And we don't have that picture in this museum because she had found that recently and put it in the book.
That picture, I don't have that.
See, she found many, many pictures in this book. It's actually a lot of the houses in town. It's a gorgeous book.
And you're selling that here in your...
We are selling that in the museum. It's $35, and that just pays for how much it cost.
And that's cash or check and not credit card.
Cash.
Yes, indeed.
So that's kind of fun. This is all about the bank on the corner, which is probably our most historic house.
The community bank.
Yeah. It started out as the Island House, and this is a register from 1874.
Wow.
We have all the people's names and where they were from in town. Burlington, Plattsburgh, Burlington.
Wow.
People in South Hero stayed here. We have their names. This was a treasure to get. This was a treasure
Yes,
to
absolutely.
get. And then pictures of in different time frames. This is what it looks like today.
I filmed that actually last fall, or it was last year anyway.
I think I saw it. I have seen your channel.
Oh, how cool was
I
that?
have seen your channel. You did Granny's Attic, and you went across the road. Did you do the Old White Meeting House and then went across the road? I saw it. I saw it. I saw it.
Well, I'm glad you saw it.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I loved it.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know how I came upon it because I haven't seen it since.
Oh, it's still up.
Maybe I Googled like Granny's Attic, or maybe I Googled South Hero and I got it because you do a whole bunch of towns.
I do. I've been in the state of Vermont filming. So of course I live in Vermont. But hopefully I'll travel someplace outside of Vermont at some point. Well, actually I'll be going to Arizona. I have a friend out there. So we usually go to ghost towns.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love ghost towns?
That's a fun thing to do.
It is very fun. Yeah.
This side is research. We have tons of research information for people, all kind of word of mouth stuff. So people have told us stories, we type them up, we put them in the binders, we find newspaper articles that are in there, so you can't get that stuff online. We have videos. We've videoed over 42 presentations in town of the older people telling their stories.
Wow.
In town, we have all those DVDs. They're all on our website, too. This is the original. Sure.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
Mr. Phelps.
Oh, I love these things. The things that people use.
Here he is. So the hardware store in town, that's Wallace Robinson, who started the hardware store. That's him behind this.
Wow.
This picture is Wallace Robinson, who was
Any relation to you?
No.
Wow.
We came from New Jersey.
Oh, I was born there.
You were born where?
Patterson.
My husband was born in Patterson.
Good Lord.
Do you know Michigan Ave?
Oh no, we moved when I was 6.
Okay. I was born in Long Island, but we moved to Wayne, New Jersey. Wayne, do you know where that is? It's Patterson, Wayne. It's near Patterson. And I was only there at 18, then we moved to Vermont. I've been here 50 years.
46 for me.
46.
Yeah. I know.
You're getting there.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, slowly but
And
surely.
what town? Always South Burlington?
I know. Oh gosh, we lived in a lot of places. Burlington, Essex. We did live in South Burlington. I mostly spent most of my life in Burlington. Oh, and Starksboro. Let's see. Where did I go to school? Edmonds Junior High School and Burlington High School and UVM.
And UVM. I went to UVM 26 years. I have 3 degrees, bachelor's, master's, and doctorate.
Good Lord.
I went 26
I
years.
tip my hat to you. I have a bachelor's degree in history. And I minored in Latin. They got me far. But actually, there's a lot I can say about
The history. I didn't. I was math and science.
wow.
And my master's is in science, and my bachelor's is elementary teaching with a minor in math. So I did math and science, and I taught right here at the school math and science for quite a while. And then the principal asked me to switch to 3rd and 4th, social studies.
Wow.
And I said, sure. So I just started talking to people in town, and I'm like, this is great. The end of my career, I'm doing social studies. And I loved it. Now I've been doing it over 20 years.
Wow.
I loved South Hero. We lived in Williston. But my husband had always come to South Hero. That's a normal story for South Hero people, is they came here in the summers and then they all want to come back and live here. That's very common. So he came in 1954 for 20 years with his family. We got married and he kept saying to me, someday I want to live there, someday I want to live there. So we raised our kids in Williston 30 years, and then a job comes in South Hero. He's like, you can teach at the school, you can teach math and science. So I went and got the job there, and then we found land and we built a house in South Hero.
Wow.
We've been here 18 years. And look at what I'm doing. I'm president of the museum, and this whole museum is redone since we took over. We have a great group of people. There's another woman, Kathy Mary, who's not here, does all the displays. She's fantastic. This book is amazing. You know, just newspaper articles and history, and people come in and read this forever.
Well, admittedly, we were reading it too when we came in.
Yeah, there's so much in this old time stuff. Over here is this barrister's cabinet is where we put a lot of the very, very, very old books and things. And a woman had donated that. And that picture up here is the same. This picture is very interesting because look at the clothes they have on. Is it cold in the museum?
I would dare say.
It's the library. Here's the women's names: Margaret Tudhope Robinson, Lois Robinson, Bertha Wilcox Robinson, and Myrtle Minkler Robinson.
Any relation?
Not to me, but they're all Robinsons. And
wow.
There's a family in town, Allens, that has 5 sisters. 2 of them married Robinsons.
Well, they didn't have to change their name.
So that's very interesting. And this display is apples. There's always apples in South Hero. We just got this. And they said this was how everybody got their grain in town, and everybody be excited to see that.
Oh, peas grain from Burlington.
Yeah, from Burlington. But that was, and if you wash this all comes off, and they would use it to make the little girls' dresses. Yeah, if you wash this, she told me, don't wash it, all that will come off. So that they can. So we have apples, and another woman. So when you see the honeymoon cabin, it's a woman that built that capitalized on the train coming in. This is the first person ever to make money selling apples.
Rock on.
And it's a woman.
We love
and
that.
Her name is Laura Ellen Landon Allen. So you know we're on an island, so the same names.
Any relation to the person who donated the library?
Yes. So she's definitely related to Susan Landon. She's related to that would be her sister, maybe? Cousin? I'm not sure. And then she married an Allen who died young. And that was why he had the apple orchard. So she $1,400 from 14 acres of tree, and it was $1,900. First person to make money selling apples.
She made a lot of money.
And she made a lot of money. And
Good for her.
We're very proud
I'm
of her.
happy about that.
Very proud of her. And then these are just people come, and we have a lot of the old farming pictures. If you know Allen Home and Hackett's, people love
I've heard of Allen Home.
Yeah, this is an Allen. He had an airport for years. He flew an airplane.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he did.
Of course he did.
And Kinney's had an orchard for years. That's Robinson. A lot of Robinson. This is Kinney. This is...
Is this one of the original families, Robinson?
Yeah. Okay. So Robinson, Allen, and Phelps.
Okay.
I think Ron would know better.
He is engaging others at this time.
He is the best, because if you look at a map, so here's South here. Do you know what this is very interesting. In 1960. Okay. So we had this, which map is this? We had a map. So this is 1857. Okay. There was this map. I copied it. Then I said to him, do you know what it looked like in 1960?
Of course he did.
Ron created this map from what he remembered from 1960. All the families, all the orchards, Kinneys, Allens, Laro.
Wow.
Allen Point, Phelps,
See, that's
the Corbin. I told you, but Ticonderoga is the Corbin. Phelps Point is here. Phelps also owned the Sandbar. Phelps are all over the place.
That
Anyway,
is amazing.
yeah, so he's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Which is kind of fun.
Does this still play, perchance?
It does, yes. You want to hear it? You can have
Oh,
hear it.
yes,
Play it.
please.
Let's play it. So first, let's turn
You
it,
see the sign, Terry?
please. But I'm in charge.
That
I have
makes
to
a
remind
difference.
him I'm in charge.
That makes a difference.
I think I'm in charge anyway. I'm in charge of something.
Chief cook and bottle washer.
Need to turn some more.
More? It needs to be more?
Yeah, wind it up some more.
Okay. All right. Oh. Can you wind it with it on?
It's tired.
Wow.
It probably needs a cleaning.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Holy cow.
But what is even more impressive is, wait,
Oh,
look,
yes. It came with all the records.
we have all
Oh.
these records. I
Wow.
haven't tried them all yet, but I would love to try to get a song that we knew even better than that one. If we
What
had
was that?
time. That one was Rainy Day Blues, a foxtrot by Joseph Smith's orchestra.
Wow.
But this is all filled with records that we can
That's
play.
amazing it came with the records, too.
I know, isn't it? I mean, this was quite a find. This was somebody in town that just decided to give it away. All right.
A friend of mine volunteers lives in Bisbee, Arizona, and volunteers for a place like this. It was an old department store, so it's 3 stories and a basement and an attic. So people regularly donate things. I mean, well, they have a lot of room, but yeah, it's insane the stuff they have. Drum sets from high schools and just crazy how much they have. So yeah.
The people in South Hero keep a lot of the stuff because they know we don't have room. So
We have the boats up here.
I saw them.
The boats were built by Reverend Max Reeder, who used to be the minister at the Congregational Church. And Father Brennan used to be the priest at the Catholic Church. And when the church burned, Father Brennan invited everybody to the Catholic Church for services. And Max Reeder would build these boats. And he wound up giving that one to Father Brennan for being so kind and then allowing everybody to come. And then this one over here that he made is not a train. It's a birdhouse.
It's
So that's a
amazing.
little story about the bridge.
The talent never ceases to amaze me.
and that wall over there is all about the schools. We had 4 original schoolhouses, and then Mr. Folsom donated the money to build one school from the 4, and that's the brick building that's there today. So these are just some of the
Oh,
old.
that one in the center.
And we did have a high school from 1900 to 1909, and that's the graduating class up there.
Oh, wow. Wow.
There's Hazel Robinson, Lucille Friend, which would be Roy Friend's relative, a James Allen.
I'm sorry.
I know, but it's this.
I just wanted to
names. A Josie Martin. There's Martin Road. And Charlotte
Get out of your way.
Oliver. That name we don't know as well, but you know the names are just crazy.
Well, I noticed that because they filmed the War Memorial and the bronze plaques on the building itself. So I saw a lot of last names that were the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I figured many were related, especially if they had unusual last names. So
Okay, so we've done this pretty well.
absolutely.
This is more school stuff. People always love the school stuff.
I do love school stuff.
We have an actual ring from, it was called, it says Folsom Grammar School, FGS, 1963. So it
Wow.
was Folsom Grammar School.
They're still standing?
Yeah, that one is. That's kind of cool.
My high school.
There's farming stuff. We don't have a lot of farming stuff. But sometimes when I bring the kids from school, I take this down and they try the windwar, and we do talk about, how farming happened because they don't remember any of that.
Well, as a city gal, I really don't know much about that either. But
Right.
the only other time I've seen the word flail was when I was at the King Tut exhibit.
Really?
Yeah. One of the gods was holding a flail.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
And this actually I'll just tell you, this goes with the book
Oh,
that we're
okay.
selling. This is a lot of the pictures and goes with the book. This was before the book was finished. But we have the book finished now. We're thinking of putting a few of the little stories from the book on here too. And then these clothing, this was all here when we got here.
Wow.
The old clothing. 1870 boots. I mean, it's nice to have the old stuff, isn't it?
1870.
Yeah, from 1870, the little boots and the little kids' coat there.
They last longer than my stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah. Or we used to have different things we used to have here.
Wow.
We found this advertisement. We had an old newspaper. This is 1919. Dress Oxfords, $8, and we have a pair of them right there.
That is, both of them?
Yeah, both
the
of them.
white bear, okay.
Yeah, both of them. Wow. From 1919.
But $8 in 1919.
That's pretty expensive.
It was.
Yes. So only for the wealthy children.
So this is you don't have to take a picture of this, but this is another graduation class. The names, Lucy Allen Wells, Ina Hall White from White's Beach, Robert Allen, Grace Wright Allen, Homer Clark. I mean, it's all the same families over and over and over. There was a doll making group in town for years. They made the best dolls, and they would go to Boston and they would win prizes.
Wow.
This woman is Margaret Robinson Hoig. She was in the group, and she made this like her mother's wedding dress. One of her people in the group with her was Janet Hazen, and you see that Green Mountain Boy doll right there?
Yes.
She did that one.
Wow.
Well, they all went to Boston to get their prizes. Margaret Hoig was winning quite a big prize. This woman, Janet Hazen, got sick and couldn't go.
Okay.
The airplane crashed.
Oh my God.
6 or 7 of the group died, and Margaret died.
Oh my gosh.
So Janet had this up until about 3 years ago. She was 90, and she donated it to our museum.
Wow.
So
And what
now
a
we
story.
have 2 from that group.
She was my aunt.
And it was Marty's aunt
Wow.
That died in the plane crash.
that died in the plane. She
Wow.
was a
I'm
wonderful
sorry.
First
woman.
time she'd ever flown.
Oh,
It was sad.
wow. I'm sorry.
We did get some more of her dolls, too, in that barrister's cabinet. Her daughter brought us some. Aren't those some of Margaret's? No, they're...
They were owned by Aunt Polly.
Okay, so they're not...
Would you show the stone castles?
No. So do you know about the stone castles in
I
town?
did read about that, but
Yeah, so here's some pictures of them.
it's
And
insane.
where they are. Yes. Should I go back to the honeymoon cabin? Because I don't want to leave Colin alone. And you do downstairs.
company over there too.
I know. I know. Does Pam want to do downstairs? Well, do you want to? All right, we got to do downstairs. It's
Okay.
just amazing. And you can